What's happening, boys and girls out there in YouTube land? Gonna do a quick install video on our MonoCore LDC setup that comes with our air stripple and baffle set. For the internal shroud. So what that does is utilizes all this space a lot better for sound suppression, and then the LDC that we use is MonoCore, super lightweight. Comes in, it weighs about a third as much as like a competitive aluminum MonoCore, and this is shorter and it doesn't require an adapter. So with the adapter and a typical aluminum LDC, this is going to weigh about a quarter as much, about 25% as much as the weight. So the muzzle weight savings is huge, and that affects the carry of the PCP when you're shouldering up or when you're just walking around. It helps the weight bias. So with PCPs, the weight bias is usually towards the front because of the air cylinder. So they're kind of hard to shoulder because they're front heavy and they feel muzzle heavy. So I really like the idea of keeping the muzzle light. And like if you look at this setup right here, I mean, I use a small bottle, 360 cc, so that keeps my weight bias back. I'm not one of those guys that wants to run a 500 or a 700 cc bottle on my Avenger, because for me, on 360 cc's, that's like double what this PCP came with. So I can shoot pretty much a whole session on one bottle, and I don't need to sit 500, 600, 700 cc's on here. And even if I run out, I'll just go back and refill real quick. But I don't want to carry around a front biased heavy PCP in the field. So that's why we run what we run here: lightweight ATAC stock, 360 cc bottle. This bottle weighs about the same as much as the air tubes, the OEM air tubes. But being that the OEM air tubes are out closer to the muzzle, they run out farther towards the muzzle, it's more weight biased forward with the OEM air tubes. So with the bottle, even though it doesn't save weight but doubles the capacity, same weight, but it moves the weight back. Same thing with the MonoCore LDC with the Shroud baffles. Between the Shroud baffles and air stripper, which turns the Shroud into like a moderator of sorts, and then with the I call this my short dog LDC MonoCore. Between the stripper and baffles and the short dog, we get equal sound suppression as your leading aluminum LDCs, but at a third to a quarter of the weight. Because like a larger LDC, a larger typical aluminum LDC that it would take to quiet this down equally as much as what I've got here, this is a quarter of the weight of that. So anyways, check this out. I'm gonna show you guys how to do the install of this real quick, and then we'll do some dry firing to check the sound. Alright, so this is how it sounds OEM from the factory with just the shroud cap on, no internal baffles in the shroud. When I measured it, it came out at 105 decibels. Alright, so there's that. So now I'm gonna put the air stripper and shroud baffles in, and then we'll see how that sounds. So as you can tell by this video clip right here from my harmonic dampening ring installation video, the air stripper, it does a real good job of holding the muzzle straight in the center of the shroud because it fits real tight. Because I know some of the other adapters that say that they hold that they center the muzzle, they're kind of loose fitting, like by a millimeter, so it can't really hold the muzzle. So this is the air stripper. Goes in real simple, just slide it in, and then the 3 shroud baffles. and then finally the O-ring, and then we'll just put our air cap back on, and then we go and play that tune. Now we'll put the short dog MonoCore LDC on there. Play that tune. Alright, so when I did my sound meter testing on everything, what it came out with was with nothing, just from the factory, it was 105 decibels, and then by adding the stripper and baffles, it reduced by 4 decibels down to 101, and then with like a leading LDC, like an aluminum one, I was coming out with 96, and then I tried another aluminum LDC and it was down to 95, and then with the MonoCore LDC it came down to 94. So from stock at 105, with this setup it adds almost no muzzle weight, only a couple ounces, and then it doesn't add very much length to the overall setup, because this is 4 1/4 inches past the end of the shroud, whereas like a typical aluminum LDC, you need like 1.5 inch adapter, and then you have your LDC, which is going to be like 6 inches. So you're looking at like 7.5 inches past the muzzle for a typical aluminum LDC, versus 4 1/4 inches for the short dog MonoCore with the stripper and baffle setup, and you end up with equal sound suppression overall. So yeah, it's really something to consider as far as not adding too much weight, too much length, and then also the budget. Like, it's going to be less expensive to go this route, and sounds real good, and it looks pretty cool too. And then it's the beginning part of it is tapered so that you can still install your fill whip if you have air tubes, you know, and your fill ports out front. You can still fit it in there without removing the MonoCore, so that's pretty cool also. But yeah, she looks pretty cool. Keeps it nice and short, pretty quiet. 94 dB down from 105, so you get about a 11-point drop in decibels with this setup. So I've been real happy with it. You guys check it out on my eBay store. I'll put a link in the description below.
But not to knock any of the leading aluminum LDCs out there on the market. I mean, they're super high quality and work excellent, but I really do think that for certain applications, there's room for something that's lighter and more compact. Like, that's the setup that I end up choosing to run on my Avenger Bullpup, just to keep it compact and short and lightweight, because the stock on the Avenger Bullpup, it's kind of on the heavier side, so any weight savings you can get is gonna be a big help when you get out in the field and you're walking around.